With so many food guidelines and ever-changing rules, parents know just how hard it is to prep your kids' school lunches. One day juice boxes are allowed, the next day they're banned, one day you can pack some bread, the next day gluten is considered the devil's food. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like and share this video with your friends. One mother thought that she had managed to carefully navigate these complex and confusing lunch guidelines until she found out her 4-year-old daughter was intentionally kept hungry all day. The careful mom was furious, and when she discovered why the school did what they did, things only got worse. Lisa Pearson and her husband always wanted a family, and ever since they became parents, the duo cherished every minute of their time with their daughter, Natalie. The family even moved to a small town in Colorado, which was the perfect place to raise a family. Aurora is a quaint, family-oriented city that is away from the hustle and bustle of big cities in the best way possible. And, nestled into lush Colorado scenery, the city is full of parks and playgrounds. 4-year-old Natalie was a well-behaved child who loved nature and being active. Lisa saw the great potential in her daughter and wanted to provide her with all the right opportunities, and that is why she was enrolled in Aurora's Children's Academy. The city's highly competitive academic program had made a name for itself for cementing its pupils' futures, and after saving for a long time finally, Natalie too could be part of this inclusive and talented community. Places like Aurora's Children's Academy are known to have many convoluted rules, and Lisa was fully prepared for it. She followed all of them carefully and also told Natalie to respect them. One of the Academy's rules was that children under 4 years old had to bring their own lunches from home. This was no big deal for Lisa, as she already prepared all of Natalie's meals, which were always well-balanced. Everything was going smoothly at the Academy. And as the weeks went by, the family had found their routine. Natalie had managed to make friends quickly and was well settled. The family couldn't be happier until it all changed. Lisa noticed immediately that something was off. As she was picking up her daughter from school, the bubbly girl seemed down and quiet. Lisa tried to stay calm and asked Natalie about her day, hoping somewhere along the way she could get some answers. And that is when Natalie informed her mother about what happened, and all Lisa could do was see red. She was furious. According to Natalie, she hadn't been allowed to eat her lunch. In fact, the teacher had typed out a note for Lisa inside her lunchbox, and the mother was baffled when she read it, and of course, offended. It insinuated that Lisa was not providing a healthy lunch for her daughter, and that it did not follow the school's strict guidelines. The note made it seem like she was poisoning her daughter. Lisa had a very busy schedule, and she couldn't even remember then what had prompted the school to take such extreme measures. To her, Natalie's lunches were always healthy, and then she saw the cookies. It seemed to her that the school was outcasting her daughter all because she had packed a few Oreos in her daughter's lunch, her favorite snack. Lisa could somewhat understand the school's thought process. If Natalie had an overall unhealthy lunch or had consistently been displaying harmful food choices, she had packed her a whole wheat sandwich as her main lunch, and it seemed that it was only the Oreos that were causing such a scene for the school. What Lisa couldn't understand was why they hadn't just let her 4-year-old eat her lunch rather than keep her hungry all day. Or why hadn't the school contacted her? It was Lisa's mistake, after all, for giving her daughter Oreos. Lisa said, "I think it's definitely over the top, especially because they told her she can't eat what is in her lunch. They should have at least allowed her to eat her food and then contacted me." The mother felt parent-shamed and felt like the school was making a big deal about nothing and actually creating harmful patterns for young kids to follow. She pointed that skipping meals is also not healthy for any 4-year-old and is probably worse than her eating a few cookies. After calling the school, Lisa was rather rudely informed that on that particular day she had not packed fruits or vegetables with her daughter's lunch, and in the eyes of the school it was considered harmful negligence. Lisa fought back and again mentioned that Natalie should not have been punished for her mistakes, and this felt like second-hand parenting. But she got nowhere with the school and knew she had to take matters into her own hands. Lisa snapped a photo of the note and posted it on social media, and in just a few hours, the entire parent body of the school rallied behind the mother. The post went viral, and soon parents across the country had Lisa's back. They all agreed that the school's policies were extreme and that while trying to create a healthy atmosphere for the students, they had in fact done the exact opposite. And that is when she got a call from the school's communications officer. Seeing all the bad press the academy was receiving, the school decided to finally come clean about what had happened. Aurora Public Schools Chief Communications Officer Patty Moon called Lisa and explained everything. She had talked to Natalie's teacher, who had printed the note, and was informed that she had been offered a healthy alternative lunch, which Natalie had refused several times, and that is why she had stayed hungry that day. Lisa confirmed this story through Natalie, and of course this numbed the sting of the day for her, but overall she was still unhappy with the way the school had handled the whole situation. Of course, Lisa moved on since she knew that the school wasn't going to change its ways. Sadly, this isn't a one-off case of American schools struggling with lunches. Another family spent weeks being sick. Beth Paulette was a stay-at-home mom who led a busy life thanks to her 4 kids. Despite all the challenges, she loved being a mom and tried her best to give her children all that she could offer. She had set a reasonable routine for them, which ensured that all of them maintained a healthy eating and sleeping schedule, with Beth overseeing everything. Of course, she didn't have to worry much about her 2 oldest boys, who were in high school. The boys went to Virginia's King and Queen Central High School and, thanks to Beth's diligent parenting, had all the skills they needed to create for themselves healthy routines. Beth was a great mother, and her boys were proof of that. Later, Beth would say that things started falling apart rather suddenly and quickly. One of her sons started complaining about bad headaches, and while he took some aspirin and rested after school, the annoying headache just wouldn't go away. She took her son to a doctor, and he seemed perfectly healthy. The doctor saw no reason for why her son would have such a persistent headache, and even joked with her that the boy was using the illness to get out of doing his homework. Beth hadn't raised her kids like that, but worried that maybe the doctor was right, and just as she was coming to this conclusion, her other son also began to complain of having headaches. She was lost. The worried mother Googled the boy's headaches online and found a bevy of scary prognoses that made her only get worried some more. Her once active boys were soon coming home from school, groggy and irritated, and no one knew why. Beth followed her instincts and decided to watch her sons like a hawk. She made sure they slept well at night, checking on them several times a night, and reminded them to drink water throughout the day. The boys always had a healthy appetite at home and always preferred eating fruits and vegetables, so she wasn't concerned that it could be their diet. And after checking and rechecking everything, Beth hoped her sons would start feeling better. But things only got worse. The boys would come home and sleep till dinner, and her very low energy. She thought maybe they were stressed from school or going through personal emotional struggles which they didn't want to discuss with her. So she started sending them sweet messages throughout the day, asking them about how their day was going, simple and caring messages to let her boys know that she was always going to be there for them, no matter what. And during such a conversation, the truth came out. Beth randomly asked one of her sons, "How was lunch?" And rather than give her a reply, he sent her a picture, and everything immediately clicked for Beth. She was absolutely horrified by the photos. Her son was given a pizza that looked like cardboard, spare ribs that had been burnt to a crisp, and several items she wouldn't even consider edible. The migraine suddenly made perfect sense. The boys had low blood sugar because they were skipping their lunches. And with food like this, who could blame them? That one picture solved weeks of Beth's tension. When her sons got home, she gently asked them about it, and both of them confessed that they did, in fact, skip lunch, and the reason they never told Beth was that they worried that they would get in trouble for not liking the cafeteria food and would be labeled as picky eaters. Beth was shocked. All the headaches, irritability, and lack of energy were explained by the picture, but she couldn't blame her sons. The food the school fed the kids was far, far, far away from nutritious. It was carbohydrate heavy and didn't offer a single vegetable. Beth was furious with the state of the school lunch program, and she promised her boys she would rectify the situation. After her complaints about lunch reform for the high school fell on deaf ears, she decided to take things a step further. She forwarded the pictures of her son's lunches to WTVR CBS 6, and just as she had been shocked, so were the producers. The news channel decided to question those responsible for feeding kids such horrendous meals. Investigators started knocking at the school's door and learned that Beth's kids weren't the only ones skipping meals. One student, Precious Jackson, commented, "It looked so unappetizing I could not bring myself to eat it at all." The school superintendent, Dr. Stanley Jones, who was responsible for ensuring proper nutrition for the pupils, said that he was aware of the problems and was working towards finding a solution. He had fired the head of the school cafeteria. However, the cafeteria head, Suzanne Gilbertson, told the news crew a different story. She countered the superintendent's words and said that she wasn't even in charge at the time of her suspension. What's more, she said that it was her who had made it her business to tell staff previously not to serve anything they wouldn't want to eat themselves. But the school had never listened and forced the staff's hands to serve whatever.